I am disappointed, to say the least. The main thing keeping me to the game the last weeks have honestly been the raid race to world first, and of course doing YouTube videos as well. I really do like to make the YouTube videos. However, the longer the wait for the raid, the more I did lose interest, and I gotta say the interest was really low before Tile Update 9, and I was hoping that that would bring back some motivation to play the game. But damn was I wrong with that. I got a few private messages and they told me that the raid was leaked, and they backed it up with Datamined files. I was hoping that the Twitter post yesterday would get some more traction, but it didn't, so I feel like this video is needed. Anyway, according to my data miner source, say it got added in Tile Update 9, and since Tile Update 9 was 10 GB in file, which is quite huge for what it gave us, it makes sense that it did get added in Tile Update 9. So what got data mined? So you guys know the raid journal for the Dark Hours that shows every boss and his abilities? Yeah, this one right here. That one for the new raid was in Tile Update 9. I'm personally really disappointed to see this being in there. I think it would have been smarter to upload this the same day as the raid, like they did with the first raid, at least what I think they did back then. Because I didn't hear anything about data mined leaks for the first raid. There was a few leaks though, but they were never data mined, and I never contacted a data miner to confirm that. With that said though, I'm 99% sure that these leaks are correct because of my two trusted sources. Could I be wrong though? Yes, definitely. But then it's because Massive intentionally put the false raid journal in the Tile Update 9. And I don't think that's likely at all, because my sources, as I said, are to be trusted, and especially being two different people. So with such info, the world first race is, just destroyed. The main part about raid races on day 1 is that you go in knowing nothing. Now people know the bosses and their abilities and such, you can actually prepare builds to try to fit those themes. I will still do the raid on day 1 though, but the preparation and all is not gonna be there, because I honestly don't care who wins it now. Because it's not a real race. It's supposed to be made 100% blind, and that's what makes raiding really fun on day 1, because you don't know what to expect. You have to figure out everything on the spot and be really prepared. But with this information, it just takes that away. So why am I making this video? Couldn't I kept this info to myself? Yeah, I could. There's only 1 or 2 other teams that I know of that have the leaks, and it seemed like they had it a bit before I got contacted, but they do have a different mindset than me, so they did not share it. I don't think a competition like this would be fun sitting with that information. Hence why I think it's the fairest to give this information out to the public. The Twitter post that got posted yesterday did not get enough traction, but the information is already out, so I thought I might as well make a video about it. The raid is still at a minimum 2 weeks away, because they did say yesterday on State of the Game that they will give a 2 weeks heads up. 100% of the ad revenue made from this first week on this video will be donated to a charity. The reason I kept it monetized is because otherwise YouTube won't recommend it as much. This video is not about money, clout or anything. I couldn't care less about that. I just want everybody to know this and get the information out there, so for people that wanna race for the world first, even though it's a bit destroyed now, you can get the same information as other so-called top teams have. So yeah, I think that's all I wanna say. I might have missed something here, but then I will add it in the top pinned comment. It's not the most fun video to make, but I felt it was really needed though. So now there's gonna be major spoilers for the new raid. If you don't wanna see that, then click away from the video. But yeah, let's get into it. Alright, so I'm basically just gonna read through all the information. I'm not gonna like talk about it or anything. I'm just gonna give you the information. So the Division 2 raid is called Foundry. It's probably a lot of you guys know. The first part, the Lord of the Raid, you can already find in the game. So I'm not gonna read that one. You can see that quickly on the screen right now though. So the raid boss number 1 is called Lieutenant Grey. I'm not sure if this is gonna be the first boss though, but this is the order it was made in though. And to make the video a little bit shorter, all the lore I will just put on the screen, but I will mainly go through the abilities and all that. So raid boss 1 abilities. A custom MP5 ability description is Grey is not what you call a natural born warrior, but Morozova has given him a bunch of training. They gave him a MP5 but customized it to make it as hard as possible for him to fuck up using it. I've heard his bodyguards rib him for it, but never when he's nearby. Ability number 2, bodyguards. On Morozova's order, 3 True Sons sticks to Grey like glue whenever a fight starts. They have these ridiculous big shields, and their top priority is to figure out the biggest threat to Grey's life and get in the way. His ego is enormous, so he loves this. Every bodyguard around him boosts his confidence and makes him harder and harder to kill. His bodyguard detail is called the short straw. Then we have boss ability number 3, Ironclad Armor System. I thought True Sons weren't that smart, but they still managed to take some division tech, you know, that Hive nano stuff, and combine it with some of the steel reserves in the foundry to make this crazy tough plating. In less than a second, Grey can simultaneously armor up and give himself a dose of combat stims, although I'm pretty sure it just spice he stole from the hyenas. Ability number 4, Ironclad Dispenser. They gave Grey this wacky armor check, but apparently that wasn't enough for him. He asked for a way to shoot his nanosteel, or whatever it's called, at range. Raid boss ability 5, Ironclad Overdose. Grey was careful to test his armor system on True Sons grunts first. It was assumed that they mostly die from it, so it was given to those duo for punishments. Pretty soon they discovered that the test subject bodies went high wire, went totally soaked in this stuff. Adrenaline spikes through the roof, total combat beasts. Ever since then, Grey has been burning through his personal supplies most nights. I guess it's quite the rush. Then we have ability 6, which is called Healing Backpack. And there's no description about this one. I think this is the only one that doesn't have any info. So that's the first raid boss. Then we have raid boss number 2, which is Captain Fieser. So we got the lore here as well on the screen, and we go to the abilities. The first ability is called the Last Dragon. Fieser claims to love his modified flamethrower, but he sure doesn't treat it with a lot of respect. My therapist would have had a field day with the piece of work. Ability number 2, Propane Injection System. Fieser bullied one of the engineers into bolting an extra fuel tank onto his flamethrower and keeps it full of propane. Loves cranking it up and turning the flames blue. The more he cranks, the more dangerous it looks. He's going to blow himself up one day, hopefully somewhere where I can watch. Boss ability number 3, Hellfire Grenade. I happen to know for a fact he just has standard issue incendiary grenades, but he just loves making shit sound more epic. What a douche. Then ability 4, Firestorm. Fieser constantly flaunts safety protocols like it makes him an action movie star or something. I've seen him spray gallons of gas into the air, then set it on fire, just for shits and giggles, while he was still standing in the middle of it. Funny that he never does that without his fireproof suit though. Really brave boy. Ability 5, Hotshot. Fieser's dumb pit name for that cannon stuck on top of a rail car. It's pretty World War II level at best. But the True Sons have a weird hard-on for that historical stuff. Pretty sure that means it's more vulnerable than usual to modern explosive though. The stuff we can make now is a billion times stronger than it was back then. Unfortunately, I have no idea how I get my hands on any with these True Sons guards up my ass. Ability 6, Control Room Infrastructure. Even the True Sons brass still don't completely understand how the Sandforge control room works, which is just fine by me. Means I'm still useful and less likely to get shot. This one idiot keeps messing with the panels right outside the door and shutting down the power to the whole place. Still, at least it makes me look smarter when I can restore the juice. So that's raid boss 2. Then we check the raid boss 3, named Lieutenant Williams. So the first ability, called the Furnace. I was never allowed to get near this monster. I need years more training, which obviously ain't going to happen now. It doesn't help that the guys love to scare me with the horror stories of how easily it can get out of balance. How fast it could all melt down if you weren't on your toes. One poor dude apparently got melted to the wall by a blast of super hot steam. Right to the wall. You do not fuck with the Furnace unless you are deranged, have a death wish, or both. Which is why I'm not thrilled that Williams have taken an interest. Ability number 2, Chimera Chem Launcher. Williams have a chem launcher from an agent he killed, but he modified it so it can swap super fast between 2 different kind of ammo. Apparently only chemical warfare and straight up war crime level stuff can give him whatever sick thrills he's after. Then we have ability number 3, Corroder. True Sons engineers are constantly telling him to not mess with the oxidizer recipe too much. If they are lucky, he ignores them. If they're unlucky, he takes it personally and they tend to disappear. Either way, he ignores anything they say and basically cranks up the toxicity, way beyond safe levels. I'm surprised his chem launcher hasn't melted from the inside out yet. Then we have ability 4, Wildfire. Regular fire starter ammo is already pretty effective. It starts fires. What more do you want? Well, turns out Williams wasn't satisfied with that and made a new version. He used live targets until he was satisfied it burned as hot and as long as he wanted. He used my friends. He didn't need to do that, but he did. One day he gets what's coming for him. Ability 5, Lockdown Seeker Mines. More tech stolen from the Division, because of course it is. From the way they talk, I swear true sons think they are warriors of truth and justice or some shit. But they are just thieves and murderers with a rank and uniform if you ask me. Riot foam is already annoying enough, and Williams put it in a seeker mine so he can nail people from even further away, because he's a dick. Ability 6, Reinforcer Unit. He was originally kind of annoyed at having to carry this around. He said it would slow him down, but personally I think it's a bit of masochism. Way deep down, and this gets in the way. Morozova insisted though, and when she does that, it's the end of the conversation. Even Williams isn't crazy enough to question her. Then ability 7, Corrosive Haze. William is literally so toxic that you can't get close to him without being hurt. Is he aware of the irony here? Who knows, who cares? And that's raid boss number 3. Then we have raid boss number 4, and you probably already guessed the name here, and that's Colonel Morozova. So I show the lore here on the screen, and we get right into ability number 1, Iron Horse. I honestly had no idea that Morozova could make something like this in only a few months. I didn't even know the rail network was still intact, but she always does her homework, so I guess she picked up on something everyone else just forgot about. The whole thing has massive steel plates all over it, so regular weapons won't even tickle. It can carry God knows how many troops, and every railcar seems to have a different and even more terrifying weapon on top of it. Mortars, machine guns, all sorts. Oh, and it's a name that sounds slightly racist to me. Classic True Sons. Ability number 2, Earthshaker Cannon. When your whole thing is using a sledgehammer to crack every nut, then of course you're going to have the biggest cannon anyone has ever seen stuck to the top of a massive armored train. Of course you are. At least one true Son schmuck went permanently deaf because he stood too close during a test fire. It makes the ground literally shake. So I guess that's why they call it the Earthshaker. Really creative, the True Sons. And ability number 3, Shock Harpoons. Honestly, I didn't realize this was a thing. Maybe it isn't, and Morozova just had a brain that works in a really weird way. Who puts harpoons on a train, then plug them into a generator so they sap the ground like that? Ability number 4, Gal 25, Vindicator Autocannon. Rumor has it that Morozova was the one who suggested taking that crazy big autocannon from the Air and Space Museum and dumping it outside the capital as a precaution. Fair to say she believes in being over-prepared. And of course, she found a second one somewhere and had to bring it here. They call it the Vindicator. Well, the grounds do. I don't think she cares what it's called as long as it melts anything it's pointed at. Ability 5, Avalanche AA-12 Shotgun. The True Sons here would never dream of calling her an Ice Queen to her face, but the nickname she gave her auto shotgun may be a sign that she is well aware of her reputation. I don't know though. The very last thing I would credit her with is a sense of humor. Ability 6, Reckoning Shoulder-Mounted Missile Launcher. Morozova is the kind of woman who carries around a missile launcher almost everywhere she goes, just in case. I have no idea what it would take to create a person who thinks like that. When she's determined to solve a problem, she really puts her mind to it. It literally takes an explosion to stop her. Literally. I have seen this happen and she only flinched. Ability number 7, Fury. I've seen Morozova make one of her soldiers piss himself without saying a word. She just looked at him while he tried to explain himself. She's like a robot or something. She never shows emotion, but you know she could destroy you in a second with her freaky robot strength. People say they saw her lose her shit once, but I don't believe it. I think rumors like that start up because people want to believe she's human like the rest of us. But I know what she's done. She's not human. And that wraps up boss number 4, so this should be everything that was in the files. And as I said before, I'm 99% sure that the leaks are correct because my sources are to be trusted. But yeah, this doesn't give away everything though, but it does give away every single ability. You kind of get somewhat an idea how the raid is gonna play out. So with this information out, people can just try to make builds that would work for these scenarios. And I'm honestly not happy at all with this because it just, even though it's not everything, it takes away a lot from the raid on day 1. but I think it's only fair for me to share this to everyone, so everybody sits on the same information. But yeah, with that said, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and see you guys in the next one.